creation, which the president yesterday said for this project to come to where it has been, 40,000 Kenyans have been working on the SGR project, at least this phase of it, this first phase, whose total cost has been over 400 billion shillings. And this, the plan, ideally, what the government states is that the plan was to have about 5 years of work going into bringing this to completion, but this has actually been done in 2.5 years. It has been launched, though we know some of the services may not be enjoyed immediately, according to some of the information we've gotten, like from the Kenya Railways Corporation and other government agencies. So we wait to see whether the president is going to give us the specifics on the same as we seek to speak to a few more people. I think we shall move closer to where the crowd is, which is going to be to give us more views and more of the anticipation put in words from the people themselves, some of whom may not have necessarily thought they'd be part of this inaugural flight. And you can see this is the economy class. This is where some of us will be riding. And we could see that what this also has is that within the train, which I'll be showing you later on, we have toilets, for instance. We have, that's why you could see somewhere labeled down there, we have the sewage box just next to the door, because that is where now when people have their needs, they get attended to. So we shall move away from that because it's breakfast time. I do not want to be liable for anyone's issues. So we continue just having conversations with people, seeing how they expect this to improve their lifestyle, the standard of living, because we are currently in a tough economic time. And so this, not only the passenger one, but especially the cargo one, which is the main purpose of the SGR, the primary source of inspiration behind it was about the cargo on itself. And so, like I said, many people may not know some of the rules. You could see people need to be off the yellow line. That's why we see the station marshal who's busy trying to ensure people get off the yellow line. And it's a new thing for us. Maybe some of us are used to the matatu stages where there's no such kind of line, no such kind of facility. So we'll find ourselves getting close to the vehicle itself, yet we should not be. And so it's sometimes just the excitement that pushes people overboard. And again, maybe at times just the Kenyan nature of not being too keen on some of these rules with the too keen on the rules that are there. And so before we even hand over, we'll just keep going back and see whether we could speak to one or two more people. Then we can hand over back to studio, just to let you know on this inaugural ride, it's going to be pretty exciting for many people who have not been part of this, who've not been part of such kind of a national momentous occasion, as we can see. And we could see many people from the private sector, from high up and coming down to the lower or the more rural farmers than business persons. And so we believe that we could actually get to speak to one more person, maybe to just tell us your name, where you're from, and what your expectation and your feeling is about this inaugural ride.
Okay, my name is Duncan Kome, and actually this is a very great day. I can say it's a first for the rest of the future for Kenya, and more so seeing it physically, and you can see it's state of the art. It's not just something that was hastened, as you might say, but the whole project, and if you think about it cascading into other counties and opening up other regions, I think this is actually a train to the future. Right. Yeah.
And what do you think is going to be some of the benefits that from, maybe for instance for you, where you come from, yeah, or whatever business or whatever you're engaged in, what do you think would be the direct impact for you eventually?
The direct impact, of course, which is one has been spoken about in many how do I say, in many
platforms.
Many platforms is the reduction of the cost of logistical challenges that business people experience. I can say also coming to Mombasa by road and living by train, I think that is a major comparison that everyone can feel. Yeah.
All right. So you're the kind of person who would eventually take this train ride. Hopefully you'll decide after the ride, but to take this as a family trip down to Mombasa, Nairobi?
For sure, I will.
All right. So thank you very much, Kome. Yet again, a positive vision, and there's a gentleman who would like to speak to us. Sana, fine, thank you. Maybe tell us your name, where you're from, and what I can see you're very excited. What is it about?
No, it's just about this new transformation in the country. Because this train will definitely improve trade. For example, for us who come from remote areas like Nyandarua, transporting our cabbages, transporting our maize and our potatoes, it will become easy because it will only be a matter of 4 hours. Biashara itakuwa imeboreshwa kabisa. Kwa hivyo kuinua biashara, kuleta viazi zetu kutoka kule kwetu kulisha Mombasa ni masaa 4 tu. Na bila shaka utaona biashara itainuka.
So inamaanisha mtatuzia waru kwa bei rahisi zaidi.
Waru ni kusema ya kwamba kama kule ilikuwa inatoka shilingi 4,000, bila shaka hapa itakuwa inatoka 3,000, sababu ni rahisi kupeleka. Zamani tulikuwa tunaleta kwa maroli, tunaleta kwa magari yoyote, lakini sasa utaona masaa 4 tu. Imagine mtu akiwa Mombasa anaanza kukula waru ikiwa fresh, mwingine kukunywa maziwa ikiwa fresh. Kwa hivyo sisi watu wa Nyandarua, kwa ukweli hii reli itakuwa inaboresha biashara yetu kabisa, sababu watu wa Mombasa wanategemea sisi kwa viazi, wanategemea sisi kwa cabbages, wanategemea sisi kwa all types of vegetables. Kweli hii ni reli yetu, na tunasema asante sana kwa rais wetu kwa kuweza kutuletea huu mradi. Twampongeza heko, na mwaka huu tumuombea ushindi. Thank you very much.
Asante sana. So those are some of the views of some of the people here from different counties, different organizations or institutions. We've seen even students from campuses and business persons who are giving us their views on what they expect when it comes to the standard gauge railway, the train, the Madaraka train. And we shall be giving you live updates as we go along the train ride. This is partly dependent on the network we find at these different places because we are relying on network. But when we're in places where you can actually get good network, we shall give you live links of the same. And for now, that's it for now from the county of Mombasa as we await the president to finish his small ceremony outside just at the parking lot of the Mombasa terminus, and then join us on the trains once we get on as well. Then we shall be giving you updates. That's it for now. Dan Mwangi is my name from the county of Mombasa.
Right, many thanks indeed, Dan Mwangi. Of course, we can see the expectation there is palpable in Mombasa. Dan Mwangi just giving us a flair and flavor of what is happening in Mombasa right now. We want to take a short break, but when we come back, of course, we continue with our guests drilling deeper on, of course, the ramifications of the standard gauge railway and looking at the security of it as well, the aspect of it. How will it be when we have this standard gauge railway locomotive engines on the trucks? We already know some of them have been vandalized, that is the trucks. So we take a short break right now and we'll continue with our discussion here on Standing on Guard. You're watching AM Live.
he is a person who is a juvenile, delinquent, because if he goes to this lounge, he will start telling Uhuru on his face, you are not the one who did the Kibaki, so why coming? So that kind of talk to a president of a republic is very rude. So for me, I personally find Hassan Joho very rude. And that is why maybe the state handlers think that he is going to spoil the occasion. I have just seen that the Standard Gauge Railway will transverse the opposition zones. Mombasa, Kibwezi, Voi, Machakos, Nairobi. So it is just as well that the governors are not invited because they may bring problems.
I think,
but following the proper channel, I think the protocol.
I'm going to see Apollos make such a statement. He would make a very good politician.
How will you categorize? Will that be juvenile politics?
He would make a very good politician, bellicose language. However, I think there is something, and Dr. Mustafa has mentioned it. The state protocol officers.
Yes.
They are the issue here. The vertical distribution of power in this country is a reality in the Constitution, devolution. It is in fact the hallmark of our Constitution, that we have devolved governments. I have heard the president many times say that one of his greatest successes is ushering in devolution. Then how do you then show and demonstrate to people that you believe in it, that the soft part of it? Then you tell your protocol officers, and I don't know who is the chief of protocol now in the current regime, but I think that is a person who is a total failure. I will not focus on the politics, because there is the politics. We have got bad manners in our politics. But you as a state officer cannot descend to that level. You must behave in a manner that displays hygiene in our politics. As Professor Midaba has said, this is a national project. This is a national pride day for the Republic of Kenya, becoming the 5th country in Africa, for God's sake, to launch such a project. And we have people engaging in political bad manners. We have state officers. These civil servants forget that they are supposed to outlast the regime. Engaging this. Governor Joho, Governor Murutu, Governor Mvuria, Governor Kibwana, Governor Mutua, Governor Kidero should be invited as state protocol, because devolution is not a wish. It is part of the Constitution. The vertical distribution of power, we voted for it in 2010. We must live it. And it is upon the civil servants to live it. Yes.
All right.
Professor, the other day, you watch Trump at Memorial Day. When he goes to Memorial Day, politics stop. You must strictly follow the national protocol required. Here's my point. In this election, there are 19 million people who have registered to vote. 60% of the 19 million vote are between the age of 18 to 35. And if you go there and have altercation and behave like juvenile, what does 18-year-old think? Who's going to vote for you? This is the kind of thing that we must really think twice. Do we want to be leaders, or do we want to go out and wrestle each other and see who's the strongest? Then, one has to choose.
One has to choose.
One has to choose.
Starting on that, before I forget, I have the man of the week, Mr. Wafula Chebukati.
Yes.
The way he conducted the presidential nominations, he actually stood on guard. So I give him a lot of credit for that. Then his people. Yesterday I was on a self-motivated observer status to observe general elections. I was everywhere. The best place I went yesterday was Laikipia. So the county returning officer for Laikipia and the deputy are doing a very good job, Laikipia being that kind of Laikipia with all the conflicts and the differences they have. So Chebukati, I think we are people on the ground. If they continue behaving that way, then we shall have national security.
All right.
And the way he behaved, his demeanor as the chairman of IEBC, he is good, and I think the commission is doing well. But yesterday, they only have one server. All the networks for the whole country went down. They couldn't process the things with their computer. So I was wondering, when it comes to 8th August, and you only have one server, and then you say we are digital, that is why NASA will complain. So I would like...
And we still have issues also with the ICT, management there.
They should be up to speed, because...
Thank you. But I think you've gone really off the rails.
Yeah?
Can we get back to the rails a bit?
Yeah, okay, I just didn't forget that.
Back to the rails, to the Standard Gauge Railway.
But you can see
yes.
the Standard Gauge Railway, if you saw the people being interviewed there in Mombasa,
yes.
Everybody is saying, I want this line to come to Kinangop for my potatoes. I want it to come to Kisii for my cabbages. So you see, Kenyans want the railway to spread over. But a few of us politicians saying it is expensive. But Wajiko wants the train to go to Meru, the train to go to Tetu, and to go to Kedube. I don't know how it will go to Kedube as we continue complaining. So I think we are moving in the right direction.
All right.
But I just want to add one thing. That South Korea set up the same projection like our Vision 2030. They achieve it in one generation.
Yes.
And the lifestyle and production and the status of South Korea change. This, whatever we do from now on till the year 2030, the focus must be on Wanjiko. Is Wanjiko life is improving as a result of combined efforts that we are taking under Vision 2030.
Yes.
And all the politicians and all the statecraft must understand their role in this process. And so this is the point, my point is to sell this as a national achievement and focus on Wanjiko as an indicator of that achievement.
All right, thank you. Captain Werunga.
Yeah, I think I want to tell Kenyans, some of us have traveled in Africa. And when we politicize this kind of infrastructure developments, it just shows you how people have not seen Africa. Kenya is doing wonders in terms of development. You go to some of these African countries, you'll ask yourself, am I in Kwale airstrip or am I in Isiolo airstrip?
Yes.
And because Kenyans have a very limited view of the world, they tend to focus their thinking within the country as opposed to looking at Kenya, what we've done in the last 50 years. And you go to some of these big countries in West Africa, in Central Africa, and you'll tell yourself how Kenya has been a success. And therefore, if we continue politicizing these major developments in Kenya,
yes,
you wonder whether Kenyans don't see beyond our borders. And I think the biggest problem is that we've decided to cocoon ourselves within our borders, and we don't see how important these things are being done. And therefore, the issue of SGR and many other things, you go to Isiolo right now, the international airport. I don't want to get into the details, but there's some countries you go to their major international airports in their capital cities, and you cannot even grade them to the level of Isiolo. And therefore, we must understand as a nation that these things that we are doing are for posterity. And when you gauge yourself in Africa, you realize how far Kenya has gone. And therefore, this idea of always comparing ourselves with Tanzania, with Uganda, with the Burundi, Kenyans must understand we have actually made strides in terms of development. And therefore, when you bring this small politics on our national things, it hurts those of us who look beyond our borders and understand what actually this country has achieved.
Right. So we should always remember that we are the best economy within the East African region. We are leading the pack as a developing country, and others are not really following suit as well, which is the beauty of what we're seeing with the SGR as well. But of course, in terms of donor funding, that also brings a whole new ballgame altogether, especially because the donors, of course, they normally go for not the developing countries. If we reconfigure our economy to the best, the way we rebest our economy, and call ourselves a developing country. What are the ramifications in terms of also paying for this particular SGR? Captain Odele.
You know, US is also a developing country. There's no country in the world that is not developing. All countries are actually developing. This is the level of development.
Yes.
But we should not, well, Kenya was mismanaged at some point, thoroughly mismanaged. When Kibaki took over the presidency, I think we started moving faster. We should not be where we are today, Dibal. We should be where South Korea is today. It is true that, and this, we shouldn't just be sitting pretty that we are okay. We are not okay.
Yes.
There are other countries that are moving very fast and are catching up with us. Ethiopia did their, ring roads and those kind of roads even before Nairobi did. It's only that Ethiopia did it only in Addis Ababa. Kenya needs to develop across the counties. And this is what is really going to impact the common Kenyan, Mwananchi, Wanjiku, Fatuma, Collins, Simiyu, everywhere in the country. And this is the way, if we are going to pull up each and every Kenyan to come up, then we are going to move faster together.
Faster together.
Dibal, you see, there are a lot of things, and I like what Captain Werunga has said, that a lot of our people take for granted. Kenya is now the 7th largest economy in Africa. Kenya is now number 77 in terms of nominal GDP globally. We crossed the 10 billion revenue mobilization mark in the last financial year. And that's why we are attracting this kind of development. There is only one hitch, which we must correct as a people. We must begin to be positive and optimist about our country. But then we must also focus on the way we are doing things. I like the examples they have used. Ethiopia. When Ethiopia was doing its high-speed railway, electric railway, Ethiopia as a government insisted that the training of its people, that the local technicians must be trained inside Ethiopia so that China can have the transfer of technology for the survival and the longevity of these projects, because we have said they are for posterity.
Yes.
Morocco today will be the first country in Africa in 2018 to have the high-speed train in Africa.
Yes.
They are purchasing the parts from France, but Morocco as a government has insisted that the assembly must happen in their country. What are they doing? They are then making sure that their own people get the technology, that this project, they can maintain it because they have the knowledge. What do we do with our SGR? We are training our train drivers using Chinese. I was reading, they have to talk Chinese.
Yes, Mandarin.
Mandarin. Yeah. Why? Because we have planners. I'm not an economist, but I know there are people who are planning and they are economists. There are people in the Kenya Railways who are planners. How are you going to have maintenance if our own people were not trained locally? We have our polytechnics. You should have insisted. And that is why this mega project must also come with proper transfer of technology. That is what we are missing. And that is why we are doing very big roads and big projects and they are falling apart.
Sustainability is very key, because also we've not been told of any workshops of where they are actually going to be servicing these particular locomotives and the engine. If they fail, will we take, or maybe would we take back, the mechanics to China, or the engine, or will import to come to the country? What about the spare parts? The sustainability of it, that we've not been given in the plan.
Yes.
Another thing that we have not been told is the fact that this particular standard gauge railway and the locomotives, another phase is that the government were looking for 40 billion shillings, because we understand that it is supposed to be dual, using the I don't know if there's a diesel and also electricity. So they were looking for 40 billion shillings in addition to what we had been stashed, so that in the near future that will be electrified as well.
Dubai, there is all over Africa, whether you go in Congo where there's been a fight, whether you go here in Ogaden Desert in Somalia, the caucuses of this machine that these two captains, they've been fighters, these two people. They're trained warriors. But the issue machine you use, you need to know how it works. You need to have the ability to maintain it. Otherwise, it's dropped out there. Nobody's touching it. And the issue is, and what Captain Wanderi in terms of support, what he's saying, unless we transfer this technology to our people, what are we going to have? Within a very short time, the whole train will be stopped.
But also we should raise this
because we cannot sustain the Chinese mechanics coming here to maintain it on an ongoing.
We can also raise accusatory fingers to the academia, Professor.
Well, that
also Dr. Apollos Mashira, because you're turning out also all these technical colleges that we have into universities, right?
University is full of a cesspool of copycats. That's what we have. They're all dancing the same way, like politicians.
So
and the issue is, the issue is, look at Egerton, okay, in his original focus.
Yes.
Don't you think Egerton will be in every district, every county, helping people about agriculture? You think we will have this kind of mess crisis that we have right now? And what about Mombasa Polytechnic? What about Nairobi Polytechnic?
Yeah,
what is going to happen?
Yeah, we shouldn't be talking about food security when Egerton should be here telling us all, liaising with the government to try and give a map out on how we can make Kenya a secure country when it comes to food as well. Yeah. Right, we want to go back to Mombasa, and Dan Mwangi is standing by, so we get a feel of what is happening right now. We were eagerly waiting to see the president. If he's coming on board, of course, he will tell us more about that. We cross over to Mombasa. Dan Mwangi?
All right, according to the clock here, Dibal, it's 8:37 a.m. and we're yet to board the train. Ideally, we're meant to be leaving at 9 a.m., but like I told you earlier on, it depends on what time the president finishes his mini ceremony just at the parking lot. Then he can come and join us on board once we eventually get to board. But nonetheless, we'll still keep getting some conversations with different people who are enjoying the inaugural ride, ranging from people who are in the private sector to people who are government and other people who've been invited to this. And one of the elements that this brings about, this service brings about, is that of tourism. Like I said last night during the bulletin, I mentioned that along the ride as we're coming here from Nairobi to Mombasa, you get to see wildlife. It's pretty much a free show, so you get to see a lot of wildlife, so it gives a boost to tourism because we passed at the Savo, we went over the super bridge in the Savo Park, a national park, and so I'll be inviting a representative from the Kenya Tourism Federation to just come and speak to us. Maybe you could, thank you for joining us, speaking to us. What's your initial feeling about this inaugural ride?
Oh, look, we're so excited, really, really. It's been like we've been waiting forever. Trains are an exciting way to travel and connecting people, cities, and yeah, so it's one of those moments where we are like history in the making.
Good stuff. And when it comes to a bit more specific to where you're from, the tourism sector, what are we looking at benefiting from this train when it comes to tourism?
So connecting Mombasa with inland, when we look at Nairobi and beyond, there's always been either the road, the old train, of course, which was kind of a difficult journey, or flights. One of the key things about this journey between Nairobi and Mombasa is the landscape. We are crossing the entire Savo, the Yatta Plateau, the Athi River Plains, and of course, on the left-hand side, views of the Chulu and also Mount Kilimanjaro on clear days. And I think that's such a big plus to be able to travel during the day. And so we will be able to offer programs that are currently not in the marketplace between the two cities, connecting the Savo, Amboseli area, and the other conservancies that are in the larger Savo. So, yeah, we're all excited about that. To be able to do things in a very short span, offer comfort, scenic landscapes, and, of course, the most competitive is the price.
And do you feel it will open the coast more to tourism, especially being it's already a tourism hub which hopefully would be able to grow and regenerate? Do you feel it's going to add value in which specific areas?
Yes, much more. Because now people, from as far as Kisumu may come up to Nairobi and say, no, let's take the train down to the coast. Or people coming from Nanyuki or Isiolo, who've never even thought about. There are people in Kenya who have never seen the ocean. So, hey, we're connecting everybody. And it's fantastic, yeah, it really is, yeah.
Thank you very much. Like I've said, like you've heard clearly, tourism does stand to benefit from this. And it's a sector that's pretty much a serious income earner for Kenya, which had suffered a few years ago, especially in light of the terrorism attacks and insecurity issues. but it's been regaining momentum, and this is hopefully going to give it a larger boost, a greater boost when it comes to what Kenya stands to benefit from the same. And so now I'm going to have yet another person to come and speak to us. Maybe just tell us your name, where you represent, and what your feeling is about this inaugural ride.
My name is Odhiambo Liete Zuberi. I come from Kisumu County. I'm the JP chair in Kisumu. And what I'm feeling today is I feel very good. I'm very humbled to see today we have another SG railway taking our people to Nairobi from the one which we used to have for colonialism. And I think now where we stand that the government of today, they have really tried their best to bring a lot of good things to our people. And I appreciate what is going on right now.
Thank you very much, and I'm just going to continue just having some conversations. And we know one of the corporates that help put together the Wi-Fi in the VIP coaches is going to be speaking to us in a bit. And we also have representation from different age groups. I know we've spoken to a lot of the older people. We are going to be speaking to the youth in just a bit. I'll just have one gentleman. Mzee, karibu sana. Labda tuambie jina lako na unakotoka na matarajio yako ni yapi katika safari hii ya SGR?
Asante sana. Mimi ni Benson Laurien kutoka West Pokot, sehemu za karibu na Uganda. Nafurahia sana kuingia Mombasa na kuona maajabu vile hii mambo ya railway vile nimefanyika. Nashukuru Mungu sana kwa utawala wa rais wetu ambaye ametuwezesha kuona mbali sana, kuona railway kama hiki ambaye anaweza kutembea kwa muda mfupi tufike Nairobi. Na nitajaribu leo kabisa kuona ya kwamba nitachukua masaa mangapi kutoka Mombasa mpaka huko. Nione ya kwamba kweli tumepata uhuru kamili sasa. Nashukuru Mungu sana kwa hiyo kazi. Mungu tuwezeshe kuendelea na afanye kazi nzuri kwa utawala wake, na nafikiria sasa Kenya itaendelea mbele zaidi. Aswa sehemu za West Pokot huko hakuna railway. Ningeomba sana railway kama hizi ifikie kwetu huko sehemu za Kapenguria ambapo kazi ifanyike. Kazi itakuwa rahisi sana kubeba abiria, kubeba mzigo na kuweza hata kubeba ng'ombe kutoka huko mpaka Nairobi. Ni rahisi kubeba transport kama hiki ambayo itachukua muda mfupi kufika mahali popote. Kwa hivyo sehemu za West Pokot kwa kweli njia mawe na njia ya wanyama, na tunafuka wanyama wote wa aina yote na kulima kwa jumla. Tungepata kupata hii kazi kama hiki kutransport vitu yetu kutoka West Pokot ingie sehemu zingine za Kenya, hata saa ngambo, tukitumia njia mfupi sana kufikia pande hii. Nasema Mungu awabariki sana. Asante
sana mzee. And I think we'll just we've got many people who really want to speak, and so we're going to try and get some organization around here so we can be able to get the different views in an orderly manner. And we know, like I said, we cut across the age groups, the different sectors and representation groups which have been invited here, or representatives of the same have been invited here to come and enjoy this inaugural ride of the Standard Gauge Railway passenger train. And I'll just speak to a gentleman here. Maybe tell me your name, where you're from, and what your feeling is about this.
My name is Edwin Kegoli, and I'm the chairman of Moi University Nairobi campus. And we are so glad to have been invited for this maiden trip. As student leaders, we are grateful that now our economy is growing, and the Standard Gauge Railway is going to, boost transport between Nairobi and Mombasa. And we are going to see a country where transport is eased, and transportation of goods and services is going to be much faster, because these are modern trains, and we appreciate the effort the president has put in place. With my fellow student leaders, we are so grateful, and we are so humbled to have been honored for the maiden trip. We are so glad.
Thank you very much. We get some of the voices of some of the student leaders, some of the students through their leaders as well, just getting a better picture of exactly who has also been invited here, because it has not been limited to just what we may say the usuals, but there's more than that. We've got people coming across from business persons and the likes, and we also have some of the service providers who are coming into, who are bringing services onto the train, are part of this inaugural ride, as I had mentioned earlier on. And we have a number of people who still want to speak to us, and so we shall keep moving with them. Excuse me, don't push me. Thank you. So we're just saying that we need to have conversations with different people, and we know that one of the service providers is Liquid Telecom, which is providing the Wi-Fi. If you could just come and speak to us, the Wi-Fi in the VIP coaches. Maybe you could just let us know your name, what you do at Liquid Telecom, and what exactly was your role when it comes to the SGR train.
Okay, my name is Sandro Tangut. I'm the regional sales manager for Coastal Region. And our input into the coaches, rather the SGR project, basically what we were doing, we were providing Wi-Fi. You'll understand that internet or social media is quite big. And this journey is something, it's a spectacular journey where there's the animals on the road, the sceneries, so people would like to upload and share. And as Liquid Telecom, we have the vast fiber infrastructure. So we really wanted to take advantage of that.
And will we expect to have some pockets of no network where it may be a challenge, or how are you looking at overcoming that? Because as we go along between Mombasa and Nairobi or vice versa, we have some pockets where we may not have some of the network service providers, or are you covered along the whole way?
As I started by saying, in the country, we have 5,000 kilometers of fiber. Our fiber runs from the port of Mombasa into Nairobi, Garissa, Malindi. So we have, along the way, we have base stations that boost our network as we move ahead.
So pretty much you're covered across this line?
All the way from Mombasa into Nairobi. The internet will be up.
But this is now limited just to the first class coaches?
Not for now, yes. But in the long term, we are looking to provide internet into all the coaches, Wi-Fi. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. So we know, like you said, the social media age is here, and people are really keen on getting to know and getting to see, to show, we're in the click and share generation. So you get something, you click and share, you take a photo. Like when we were coming, we saw elephants, zebras, giraffes, name it. And so it was quite spectacular as we saw that. And so this is something that, they're looking to have enabled in terms of sharing, so people can actually share. And, as they go along the journey, we're in the social media generation. Right now, it's a buzz with camera phones in the air. You can see camera phones, you can see people on social media sharing about this inaugural trip, and so we could see many more business persons who are looking to experience this because they've got some sort of stake. Their industries are going to be benefiting from this, and so we're hoping to get to speak to some of them. For instance, I'm trying to catch Mr. Kalua to come and speak to us for just a minute, if you will do it. Mr. Chairman, if you could kindly speak to you briefly. Yes, NTV. Yes, just to get to know your feeling and what you feel this is going to benefit, especially where you represent. Okay.
Well, this is a tremendous opportunity. As a nation, as a continent of Africa, we must be able to start moving from plan to action. Many ideas have been put in record. There is a lot that is lying in the shelves, and all that we are doing is chest thumping to say that, I have done this, it is my idea, it is all this. I think what has happened and is so historical, and why I had to particularly come here today, is to see this dream come true. First of all, there is nothing new about this, because it is what is supposed to be happening. It is only leadership that was required to take us to the next level. But you see, most of the time we politic in the wrong things, and we start name calling and everything else, instead of doing things that will help the nation and move us to the next level. This is what is going to help. Imagine the number of people who are going to use this railway. 100 years, today we have something new. You have a reason that you can use this. You can imagine the containers, the cost of containers that will be moved from one place to another, and how much you would expect that now maybe apparently about 120,000 or thereabout per container, 150. As an entrepreneur, I move containers every week for my own factory, and we are doing this in a way that is helpful, and now it is going to bring it down, the cost of transport. Of course, there are issues that have been raised that are valid about the environmental conservation of this process.
For you as an environmentalist, how do you feel
And
about
as an environmentalist, you see, it's an issue that we need to wake up to reality. The population of our nation and Africa and globally is increasing. Development definitely must be brought into tandem with this, and there is a point that both meet. It is how we soberly handle this process in a manner that allows development and allows conservation and therefore do it in a way that it is well understood. But you see, there are extremists. There are people who are taking it without having to consider what is right. Look at what is the end of the game and the common good for the Mwananchi. And we just stop politicking on what we shouldn't. This is something good for this nation. And I request even the members of the opposition, please do not do what is not right for you and even for your future. This is something that is good for posterity. Let us depoliticize some of these issues. Something good is practically good, period. And something that you can say that has been done previously, we will see what has been done. But now let us move to what is visible, what is tangible. This is what is going to take this nation to a future. I request every Kenyan to sincerely, and this is from the bottom of my heart, this is not politics, to take this thing to themselves, to the bottom of their hearts, accept it because it has happened and it is happening to our nation. And we move on because this is what is called tangible progress. And nothing is so potent as the silent influence of a good example. Give this to the leadership of Jubilee because they have made it this time. And I'm sure there is much more that we can achieve. This is just an example of the potential that we have in our country. We should be competing on issues that are going to help this nation to move from one place to a higher place.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kalua. Thank you very much.
Thank
So we've been speaking to, he's an environmentalist, and so we've been having some of the issues that have been coming up about this project are those of the conservation of the parks, because the railway runs over through the Tsavo National Park, as well as part of it has affected a lot of that life, the lifestyle of the livelihoods of some of the wildlife, which has been an issue that many conservationists have brought up. They've gone to court, they've done a lot, and so we are trying to see, we're getting to see more and more people who are within that sector still speaking against doing it in what, like Dr. Kalua says, is an extremist manner. Another thing he's pointed out is that of politicization of the issue, and we know this has been a serious conversation when it comes to matters of how we finance the funding of this project and what exactly to expect. And I would like to see whether we could get to speak to the NTSA Director General, Mr. Major. Hopefully he'll speak to us. Mr. Major, how are you?
Very well.
Yes, Dan Mwangi from NTV. We are live.
Yes.
We'd just like to get your comment on what your feeling is about this and what benefits you think it will bring, especially from where you sit.
Well, I think it's exciting. The last time I used that train, obviously, was many years ago when I was a student. It's not been possible to have this ride before. So today is very historic. But more importantly, I think we've been having a lot of pressure from our roads. And I think with the rail now taking off, that should ease the pressure that we have on our roads. Improve safety, because if you travel today from Nairobi to Mombasa, the number of trucks, heavy commercial vehicles, is so much. And the slightest opportunity even to overtake becomes very difficult. And the drivers, the slightest opportunity available, they want to overtake. That causes accidents. So if we can relieve that pressure from the roads, definitely I'm sure even the issues of fatalities on our roads will go down. The condition on our roads are likely to be improved because of tire and wear. And therefore for us, we really welcome this.
And I know this is not specifically on the SGR, but now that you're here with you, we've seen there's meant to be a third license on vehicles.
Yes.
Maybe there's a lot of uncertainty and lack of clarity.
Yes.
Maybe you could just tell us what exactly that is about and who is affected, because some people are not sure whether the existing cars they have are going to be affected. Maybe just a quick explanation on that.
Yes, the third identifier is something that actually we've introduced for the purpose of validating the current number plates. I want to make it very clear. People are saying, are you introducing the road service license that was there before? It is not true. Road service license used to be charged annually. This is a one-off payment of 700 shillings, and the sticker, which has a chip, can last for 10 years. So you are paying 700 shillings for 10 years. What were we trying to achieve? First of all, is the security of the vehicle. You know for a fact that today, and criminals have been apprehended with several sets of number plates in the vehicles, because the ease in which we can interchange number plates in this country is so easy. A vehicle is carjacked, the next thing is that they are quickly interchange the number plates. This is now to restrict that as one of them, and that's one of the things that we hope to achieve, so that it can validate the true identity of the vehicle. It will be placed on the windshield of the vehicle, and you cannot remove it without destroying it. How are we going to implement it? We want to do it, first of all, first-time registration of vehicles from July. Once the system is stable, then we move to the other categories of motorists. Eventually, we hope to cover all motorists in this country. Again, very important, we are laying a strong foundation for digital or electronic enforcement. A situation where you want to check a vehicle, whether it has valid documents, you have to stop every other vehicle to sample, will be the thing of the past. With that chip now, our enforcement vehicle will be able to be stopped somewhere and pick only those who are not compliant. So that is actually the future that we are trying to prepare by introducing that identifier.
Right. And so is this only going to be applicable to new cars, or if someone has an existing car, will it be done when they now switch the number plates?
We are saying we want to introduce with the new first-time registration. We see how the system, the stability, the rollout is going to be. From there, we also now move to other categories of vehicles. Vehicles that are required to go for inspection. Eventually, within maybe a year or two, even private motorists, as you go for renewal of insurance, it becomes a requirement that you have to have that identifier.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for speaking to us, and enjoy your ride.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much. And so we've been speaking to the Director General. It's maybe a bit aside from the SGR, but however, the life of a journalist, you get an opportunity to ask the boss in charge of a certain issue, and we go ahead with it. So he's spoken about the third license identifier, saying it's largely for security purposes, and just trying to demystify some of the things around it. Because on social media, there's been a lot of conversation on the same, and people have been wondering, does this mean we're going back to what was removed during a certain budget speech years ago? And so we shall continue just speaking to more and more people. Hopefully, you can even get some people who are more of tourists to speak to us, and a little bit more of the youth members of the society, the younger people, speak to more of them. And so we're going to be seeing how exactly we can grow the conversation around this SGR, and you can see people seem to be almost boarding. So we're about to begin boarding the train from how it looks like. And again, like I said, not many people are very conversant with exactly how the rules of the railway go, because the yellow line has been crossed many times, and it got to a point where the station attendants were a bit tired of keeping on trying to tell people to move away from the yellow line, which means they should always be on this side until it's time to board, until they're allowed to cross over to that side. And so we could see there's a lot of media, and this is including new media. We could see some very interesting gadgets that the cameras, not the conservative ones like what many mainstream would use, and this is very interesting stuff, just showing how the new media as well is going to play a significant role in just pushing the agenda of this train. And so we could see people trying to get in. Almost looks like the matatu life, if you ask me. And you can see the people being told to line up, to have some order, which seems to be a challenge because everybody seems to want to go and book the seat that benefits them, which brings into question the issues of where the ticketing and how exactly people can get tickets for specific seats, which will make it more orderly, like what is done, for instance, in planes and the likes. And so now we see more people trying to align themselves and put themselves into the line as they prepare to get onto the train, which seems to be a bit of a hectic one, if you ask me, especially from where it seems like we could see some of the security enforcement officers trying to ensure that they can put some order, trying to ask people to back up now. It has piled up to the front, so it seems like what we usually see at bus stations, especially those that are not, especially back in the day. And so maybe this will be some of the teething problems of how to ensure that you don't have the stampedes at the doors, people getting robbed, because in such cases, for instance, when we had the matatus, for instance, we used to find people, by the time you get into the bus, you've got into the bus, but you're less a wallet, a phone, or something else. So we wait to see how this will go. We could see the security officers are getting a bit agitated. It's teething problems, I guess that's what they'll probably say if we were to ask them, in terms of how the orderliness is when it comes to this. And so let's just listen in and see what exactly is happening. So they're pretty much just trying to ensure that people can come in with their certification as they should. So we're still waiting to see how that goes as people try to get their way into the train, because the idea here is that soon the president shall be coming in, and it's possible that his event outside just at the parking lot of the terminus is over. And so we could see there are different people who are here, even from all governments. You could see more orderly boarding as we go closer to the VIP, coaches. We could see here it's much more orderly. It's not like what we've seen behind there. It's pretty much a better experience. As you can see, some of the things that as they get their ticketing, there's ticketing that has been done here, so it makes it much easier, like we said. So it seems there has been an issue with the organization when it comes to the ticketing, because then now it's easier to actually know exactly who is sitting where and that they're meant to be on this coach. It makes it a much more orderly engagement, as opposed to having a stampede like what we've seen at the other door, which is still a situation. Maybe we could just go back there and see how that's playing out compared to what you're seeing right now, which is pretty orderly, pretty organized, and more civil. On this other side, we still have a sort of jam. There's a bit of a lock when it comes to people's entry. Some of the same people we saw lining up are still there, so it becomes quite a challenge. Also, yes, we are also meant to be on this coach, so we should try and get our luggage and get in as well. So as we get our luggage, hopefully we shall get in as we have been advised. Just pick our stuff. Hopefully we can get through the crowd that's there.
Well, we can see the feel and the flavor of Mombasa right now. The expectation there is palpable. People are excited, and of course, we know and understand that any moment also the president will be in the Mombasa terminal to make sure he's getting aboard also on the train to come to Nairobi as well. And we've been also discussing with our panelists here on also how this particular SGR is going to transform lives. You can see people from of every stripe, I should say, in Mombasa right now, from Pokot, from Kisii, also student leaders as well. They are in Mombasa to try and see this maiden train ride from Mombasa and how it will pan out, and how they're excited about also their economic lives, how it will be transformed. One man from Pokot, I should say, if I may get back to my panelist, was very happy that for him, he has now transport for his cows. Yeah. This is how we can actually see the benefit of SGR really going down, drilling deeper to Mashinani as well, Dr. Mustafa.
And that's the language. The old Mzee was saying now he can transport his cows. I hope an abattoir is going to be built in West Pokot and Pokot so that they can slaughter those animals, transport the meat efficiently, easily to the port of Mombasa for export. And that old Mzee, whether he's learned or not, that's the language that Kenyans need to be speaking at this point in time. It is a historic day for Kenya. And Kenyans need to look at the positive that is going to come with some of these projects.
Right, your closing remarks also, Captain Wanderi.
It must have been very exciting those days, a century and a quarter ago, when the Lunatic Express left Mombasa and route to Nairobi all the way to Kisumu. It was then called Port Victoria. And now we are happy, or we are lucky in this generation to witness the launch of the new standard gauge railway. They are yet to tell us the name, because I don't think they are going to give us the Lunatic.
It's called Madaraka Express.
It's called Madaraka Express. Well, that's beautiful because it's also Madaraka Day. But it is important for us to own this project.
Yes.
This project is not a political project. It doesn't belong to any political position. It belongs to all of us.
Yes.
It is for the posterity of Kenya, and the future generations.
All right. Politics aside, Dr. Apollos Mashira.
I wish the president and the passengers a pleasant trip to Nairobi. Once you get to Nairobi, trying to get home, that Msee with the cows will have to travel from Nairobi to West Pokot. So we should also facilitate that he goes to West Pokot in peace.
All right, Professor Naomi Damba.
This is a new day for Kenya and a new step forward to our country, and which everyone needs to embrace. We need to be sensitive about technology transfer. We need to have our own engineers actually guiding that train, train and their more training of our students toward that line. This country will be better. We are much better than most African countries, like my colleagues have said. But we must be looking at Singapore, we must be looking at Korea, and say, why are we not there?
Thank you.
That is the issue.
All right, before we get also closing remarks from Captain Werunga and Dr. Mustafa, I want to show you beautiful pictures that we have also on social media, right? Just look at that. These are the young girls who will be actually making history, according to what has been posted here by Bishop. These young, amazing ladies are set to make history, and they have been trained in China. This will be the captains of this locomotives, wearing, unflappable smiles there. And it's good to see that also women are taking charge of the SGR right now, just to mystify that this is not a man's career anymore. Young girls can actually be captains.
Yes.
And they will be riding on these locomotives. We have beautiful pictures posted there. This is it. You can see it clearer here. And we have Isaac CK also, just giving also, should I say, not really a panoramic view of all that we have, but we can see the way it is. This will be also the stewards inside the locomotives. We have Bishop posting another one. This is now the Mombasa terminal where our reporter Dan Mwangi is. This was, I think, yesterday in the evening, and Nairobi terminal where now the railway will be arriving this morning. Not the railway, but the train. And also we have Independence showing us how the Nairobi terminal is looking like. Right, there you go. Beautiful pictures. Also, we have also the girls there and the stewards. That's how it will be. In terms of creation of jobs, we can also just comment on this, Captain Werunga. This is beautiful, don't you think? Now a lot of job creation that comes with the standard gauge railway as well. Let's just put up the picture of the stewards. I think this will be the people who will be serving you in the trains. Yeah, very beautiful. Once you're aboard there, economy class, first class, you have a recliner seat there. There is good music as well. That's how it's going to be. So this is what we have also inside the train. And lastly, that's how it looks inside. I think there's plenty of room, leg room for you to sit down and enjoy if you're in the economy class as well. And of course, remember, it is passing through the Savo, so the flora and fauna of the country is yet to be enjoyed as well. These are beautiful pictures that we have here today, right? Let me just go on and see if I can get, yes, and you'll pass through Savo. Yeah, lots of elephants you will see as well in the Savo. Comment on that as we're winding up, guys.
Yes, this is good for the country. I think this is good. It's a milestone in terms of development of this country. My worry is this: the usual government style of managing things. I'm praying that this thing will be given to, will be turned into a semi-private thing, sort of, the way Kenya Airways is, so that we maintain standards, we maintain, we sustain maintenance, and we keep it to the standard that this train is going to be. The way we know our government functionaries, the way we know our government organizations managing their things, my only worry is, as good as it is, we may not sustain it this way, Dibal, unless we turn it into, even if it's a parastatal, a properly autonomous parastatal that has its own systems and structures, answerable to the executive, not even the ministry, so that they can set their own standards, they can set their own fare systems, they can set their own training systems, so that we sustain this train the way we've tried to sustain Kenya Airways. Otherwise, if we leave it to the normal government ministries, 6 months down the line, issues. I hope they are listening.
No spare parts.
That is a problem.
No fuel, no
Yes.
diesel.
Yeah.
All right. Your waning thoughts, Dr.
Dibal, even as we celebrate this monumental feat of having the Madaraka Express, we should be asking ourselves serious questions why we are not where South Korea is today, as some of my colleagues had said. And a piece of advice to the Madaraka Express, charging 900 shillings is a ticket all the way Mombasa to Nairobi or Nairobi to Mombasa is not going to be sustainable to run this train. Eventually, it's going to be dirty, cleaning. It has to be run profitably, and an economy class in such a ticket should definitely cost much more than 900 shillings. And I hope this is something that they have to address in order to make it sustainable and keep the standards that Kenyans would want to see in this kind of a project.
But maybe they've worked the economics, and of course looking at the economy of scales.
I don't think so, Dibal.
43
I don't.
1,260.
I don't. There'll be only 2 services a day, I think, back and forth. 400 billion. They need to have like 20, 30 services a day. It needs to be heavily used if they're going to charge less. Right now, if they're going to, if I'm not an economist, but I doubt that 900 shillings will really make this thing run well.
Okay.
Yep. But they know better, and I wish them well, and congratulations.
Thank you. All right. Unless you have anything afoot that you want to say briefly as we're winding up, we need to take a short break right now. Right, Captain Wanderi, Dr. Apollos Mashira?
Let's enjoy Madaraka Day tomorrow.
But you've not spoken to the criminals who are vandalizing.
I'm telling everybody, including, no, we don't have criminals these days. We only have a few prisoners in prison.
So you don't have a career. You're the criminologist.
I teach and
or you've done well.
I
you should congratulate you.
Yes, so everybody have a merry Madaraka Day tomorrow. And they continue in the holy month of Ramadan. Continue that way. When you add, we shall celebrate with you.
Thank you. Yeah. And of course, I'll be remiss if I don't pick up this tweet from the digital commander is saying, sober, intelligent, true to the point panelist, Naomi Damba, Apollos Mashira, Collins Wanderi, Mustafa Ali Werunga. Thank you very much for being on the show today. We appreciate also your viewership. We shall continue with this coverage. Don't go away.
Thank you.
We shall cross over to Mombasa, where we're expecting the president to actually take that maiden ride to Nairobi. And of course, we shall give you all the hoopla and the happiness that is palpable in Mombasa, the feel and flavor of this maiden trip to Nairobi. Don't go away. We take a short break right now. Right, welcome back. You're watching NTV Today, and of course we're covering that big story of the standard gauge railway maiden trip to Nairobi. The train, I should say. I'm given to understand right now that the president is actually at the Mombasa terminus, and we want to cross over there to get a feel of what he's saying this morning.
Tutafika salama salimini, mizigo pia yasafirishwa. Wana Kenya leo ni furaha leo Wana Kenya leo ni furaha leo Wana Kenya leo ni furaha leo Wana Kenya leo ni furaha leo
Tuwashangilie wanakwaya, tupige makofi, tuwapigie makofi wanapoendelea kutuletea nyimbo. Ni KPA kwaya ama kwaya hapa hapa bandarini.
Kadama wangu ukimbanda banda, wamuwala kadama wangu ukimbanda banda. Mangale, 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 mangale. Unaenda ze mangale, unalau mangale, wamuwala kadama wangu ukimbanda banda, wamuwala kadama wangu ukimbanda banda. Mangale, 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 mangale. Unarudi mangale, unanau mangale. Wamuwala kadama wangu ukimbanda banda, wamuwala kadama wangu ukimbanda banda. Mangale, 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 mangale. Unanoni mangale, unalau mangale. Wamuwala kadama wangu ukimbanda banda, wamuwala kadama wangu ukimbanda banda. Mangale, mangale.
Hivi sasa Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya anapanda mti ikiwa kama kumbukumbu ya sherehe ya siku ya leo. Hivi sasa Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya anaendelea na upanzi wa miti ama wa mti ambao itakuwa ni kumbukumbu ya kwamba tarehe 31 mwezi huu wa 5 historia imetendeka hapa Mombasa. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali. Tumpigie Mheshimiwa Rais makofi, tukishangilia kwa shangwe, vifijo na nderemo na mbwembwe, kwa sababu ni siku ya kipekee sana. Mheshimiwa Rais hivi sasa anaonyeshwa ramani na jinsi mambo yalivyokuwa wakati stesheni hii ilipoanza kujengwa na kutengenezwa. wameandamana pamoja na naibu wake wa rais Mheshimiwa William Ruto, pamoja nao wakiwa na viongozi wengine wa kutoka katika nchi yetu ya Uchina, pamoja na viongozi wa nchi hapa, tukiwa na mawaziri wengi sana waliohudhuria kongamano na tamasha hii ya leo. Basi hivi sasa Mheshimiwa Rais anaenda kuzindua rasmi maandishi pamoja wakiandamana pale na wenzake. His Excellency the President is now unveiling the plaque. Wananchi tushangilie na tumpigie makofi Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Mambo sawa, barabara kabisa hapa katika Mombasa Station. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa Rais unapozindua rasmi the Standard Gauge Railway ambayo imekuwa Archbishop. Tushangilie Mheshimiwa Rais anapojiunga pamoja nasi.
Tumkaribishe kwa shangwe, kwa shangwe, kwa shangwe Mheshimiwa Rais. Asante, karibu Mheshimiwa Rais. Karibu Archbishop. Asante sana. Thank you. Welcome, Your Excellencies. Welcome. Niombe wale wako mbele tusonge tuweze kupata nafasi ya wimbo wa taifa na wimbo wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. And as we remain standing, I will request Mzee Karisa Mueni, Mzee Wakaya, Imam Muhammad Shaban, and Archbishop Martin Kevuva to say some brief prayers dedicating this project and the services of the Mombasa Nairobi SGR to the Almighty. Mzee Wakaya, kwa kifupi, kwa heshima.
Mimi ninatoka milimani Karisa Mweni, ni mzee wa kaya, mtumishi wa wazee wa kimila ambayo hivi sasa nimefika hapa. Kwa hiyo jina langu naitwa Karisa Mweni, natoka milimani juu Gotani. Kwa hivyo na shukrani kufika hapa na kuomba kimila. Kimila tunasema similani. Similani keri. Funaanza vizyo. Visisho. Fuzireha kwa kumfoyera Uhuru ambaye ni mwana mtukufu wa roho ya usaidizi. Adi hufika haha. Fuji kumfoyera unamala kipaji cha papo kukibile na kibile. Unamala matsoge nyanda unamala akilola kuona naone. Mikolo yeli mipaho unamala kubira na bire. Magulugo ninguso unamala kurungara na rungarare. Akirungarara unahenza ta henza ye Uhuru na hamega. Unahenza takifika papo nyumba nusindisi muzo kuzalauze. Atakasada kichupe wakaja kwa papo unahenza mshoka muzo kurira laurire. Ukiriro usindusi muzo kuzalauze. Ande muka hale yonda mtu hapenda kujua penda nende. Achenda kuko kuna kazi bahaka sundura akifika yenda sundulirwe. Akisundurwa kwa fikara sisi yenye furio kuna muhenza. Ande kala haha kunaweza kirungarara chenda nyumbani fisikina mwe ya kuzama na vizame. Vikizama kuna magari kila kitu kunaanza hata akifika hao kunaanza hapa nyumbani kufika mtu mmoja na kurungarara kuzala maneno kuzanaze. Kwa visho kuna mola kuko kwa sisi fakulima wikala fadwajo kunaanza mulabizo ikinya kuko atakwe ukifika kunaanza materege unyemugila kuchemuka na gachemuke ana mizichana similani simina sante.
Asante mzee wa Kimera.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala amma ba'd. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tunakushukuru kwa kuweza kutupa nafasi kama hini tukakutana mahala kama hapa. Leo ni siku ya maombi na siku ya kushukuru kazi kubwa ambayo imefanywa na Mheshimiwa Rais vile vile na deputy wake. Mwenyezi Mungu, tunakushukuru kwa neema uliyotujalia nchi yetu ya Kenya kuweza kupata mradi kama huu, mradi ambao utaweza kurahisisha safari zetu kutoka hapa na kwenda sehemu za mbali. Safari kama hini tukiangalia tangu siku za nyuma takriban miaka 116 ndio kulizunduliwa safari kama hini. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tunakuomba umbarikie rais wetu mpendwa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta kwa nafasi aliyochukua, nafasi fupi kabisa ya kuweza kuzindua hali kama hini. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, tunakuomba mbarikie apate nafasi tena muhula wa pili miaka 5 nyingine.
Right, prayers there being ushered to the good Lord, of course commissioning that we are expecting the President to commission that particular locomotive engine from Mombasa. This is happening all the way in Mombasa at the Mombasa terminus, and we have, of course, the Sheikh there praying right now. Of course, and the President is on the ground any moment from now. We shall hear from him after the prayers. Of course, we saw them standing on ceremony also to observe and, of course, play the national anthem. And right now the President is also in a prayerful, pious mood, as we can see happening. This is coming from Mombasa, and of course our reporter down at the ground, down Mwangi, is also aboard the train which the president will be commissioning any moment from now. And that will snake all the way, of course, through Savo and other parts of the country. And the president also is being eagerly awaited at the Syokimau railway station. The train will make its first stop in Nairobi. We'll give you all the gritty details of this. As you can see, that is the Syokimau railway station here in Nairobi, where they're laying out the carpet and, of course, in preparation on receiving the president. The president will be received in the afternoon. Of course, remember this particular locomotive engine is traveling from Mombasa to Nairobi, which is about 4 hours, as it has been touted. We will be keeping our eyes peeled to see if exactly it will take 4 hours all the way from Mombasa to Nairobi. And we saw a lot of activities in Mombasa, I should say, a lot of hoopla, a lot of palpable excitement in Mombasa. Various stakeholders also, they were there on the ground. And Dan Mwangi Ali was speaking to some of them, from environmentalists, to also student leaders, also dignitaries all the way from China. Also, they are on the ground. Of course, this has been and is a partnership between China and Kenya, who they have bankrolled. Also, they've come up with the plans, and still they will be leading in terms of training our expertise here in the country, or some of the people who will be running the engines and maintaining the engines. And of course, we've seen also some of the students from various universities being taken to China to undertake also training on how they're going to maintain the standard gauge railway as well. This has created a lot of job opportunities. Remember, this is actually the first of the locomotives that were received in the country earlier this year from January. We had the first batch of the locomotives, which were 8, and we're still eagerly waiting for some other locomotives to arrive as well in the course of the year. They are meant to be 43 of them in the country, and so this is the first phase that we're seeing of the Mombasa-Nairobi railway, standard gauge railway, being commissioned by the president, and we're eagerly waiting to see how also that will pan out from Mombasa to Nairobi, and then this is the first phase. We'll have also the construction extending all the way to Malaba, and we're waiting also to see from Nairobi to Naivasha how that will pan out as well. And we had also the manager of Kenya Railways, that is Tanas Maina, saying that any moment this year that construction will be completed. That is the Nairobi to Naivasha phase 2 of the construction. So we'll be giving you details of this. As you can see on your screen, we still have the clergy making prayers for this particular standard gauge railway, and you can see the president there also in a pious mood together with the First Lady, that is Margaret Kenyatta, also in a pious mode from Mombasa. So it's a big day for the country, not only just for Kenya, but the entire East Africa, because this also is bound to benefit our neighbors as well, because this is sneaking all the way to Uganda, also via Malaba. So the picture you're seeing currently, as I mentioned earlier, is in Syokimau. And you see in Syokimau is where it will make its first stop in Nairobi. And let's just go back to Mombasa, because that's where we have the flavor and the feel of what is happening today.
Excellency the President, Excellency First Lady, Excellency Deputy President, and Excellency State Councillor of the Republic of the People's Republic of China. Your Excellency, it is always said that to walk far, you have to walk with others. And for us here in Kenya, we have been walking for a long way, for a long time, with the People's Republic of China. And so, Excellency, allow me now to welcome the State Councillor of the Republic of China, who is here as a special envoy of President Xi of the People's Republic of China. Councillor.
尊敬的肯亚塔总统，尊敬的各位来宾， 女士们、先生们、朋友们，今天我非常荣幸的作为中国国家主席习近平的特使，出席蒙巴萨至内罗毕的标准化铁轨通车仪式。习近平主席对蒙内铁路建成通车十分高兴，并表示最热烈的祝贺。
Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm highly honored to attend as special envoy of Chinese President Xi Jinping, the launching of the Mombasa-Nairobi Standard Gauge Railway. President Xi Jinping is very happy to know that this SGR is now ready for operation. He sends the warmest congratulations.
蒙内铁路通车是落实习近平主席提出的“一带一路”倡议和中非合作论坛、约翰内斯堡峰会10大合作计划的重要的早期收获，是中国与非洲3网一化的和产能合作的标志性工程。 同时，蒙内铁路也是肯尼亚最大的基础设施建设工程，和2030年远景规划的旗舰项目，是东部非洲铁路网重要的组成部分。这条东非交通大动脉的开通，是 新时期中肯友谊结出的硕果，也是中肯互利合作的结晶，是新时期对促进肯尼亚和地区国家经济社会发展、推进东非地区的互联互通、加快非洲工业化进程 进一步推动“一带一路”走进非洲腹地，造福非洲人民，都具有重要的意义和深远的影响。
The SGR is an important early harvest outcome of the Belt and Road Initiative put forward by President Xi Jinping and the 10 cooperation plans of the FOCAC Johannesburg Summit. It is also a landmark project in China-Africa cooperation on regional networks of high-speed rail, expressway, and aviation, African industrialization and industrial capacity. As the biggest infrastructure project in Kenya and the flagship project in Kenya Vision 2030, the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway is an integral part of the railway network in East Africa. Opening of this main artery of transportation in East Africa is a testament to China-Kenya friendship in the new era and the mutually beneficial cooperation between the two countries. It will help boost the economic and social development of Kenya and the region, facilitate the connectivity in East Africa, accelerate African industrialization, and promote Belt and cooperation in Africa's inland area to benefit local people. And hence, this railway is of high and profound significance.
在蒙内铁路建设过程中，中肯两国领导人高度重视、亲自关心，为铁路建设顺利推进发挥了重要的指引、指导和引领的作用。两国建设者们携手努力，通力合作，共同推动蒙内铁路顺利的建设。 谱写了中肯团结和友谊的新篇章。中方企业坚持质量安全第一，用实实在在的建设成就，展现了中国品质、中国速度、中国方案、中国精神，用实际行动诠释了习近平主席提出的真诚、亲情的对非政策理念和正确的毅力观。
The Mombasa-Nairobi Railway, its construction, received the high personal attention of leaders of both China and Kenya. They provided important guidance which ensured the smooth progress of the project. Workers from both our two countries made concerted efforts to make the successful completion of the railway possible, writing a new chapter in the history of China-Kenya unity and friendship. With commitment to quality, the Chinese companies involved have demonstrated with concrete actions Chinese quality, Chinese speed, Chinese solution, and Chinese spirit, setting an illustrating example in implementing China's policy of sincerity, real results, affinity, and good faith in developing relations with African countries, and in upholding the values of friendship, justice, and shared interests as set out by President Xi Jinping.
在此，我谨代表习近平主席向蒙内铁路的建设者们以及为此做出重要贡献的两国各部门、各企业和铁路沿线人民表示亲切的慰问和衷心的感谢。
Here, on behalf of President Xi Jinping, I wish to extend warm regards and sincere appreciation to the constructors of the railway and to the government agencies, companies, and people along the railway who have all contributed their part to this important railway.
女士们、先生们、朋友们，不久前，“一带一路”国际合作高峰论坛在北京成功举行。习近平主席发表重要的主旨演讲，同与会各方共商“一带一路”建设合作大计，共同描绘了世界各国合作共赢、携手发展的美好蓝图。蒙内铁路建设过程中，正是和平合作、开放包容、互学互鉴、互利共赢的丝路精神在非洲的具体体现。
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation recently held in Beijing achieved full success. President Xi Jinping delivered an important keynote speech, discussed with participants on ways of cooperation under the initiative, and outlined the blueprint of win-win cooperation and common development for all in the world. The building of the Mombasa-Nairobi SGR has been a vivid example that embodies the Silk Road spirit of peace and cooperation, openness and inclusiveness, mutual learning and mutual benefit in Africa.
第一呢，充分体现了共商、共建、共享的精神。蒙内铁路建成通车，是中肯双方凝聚心血和力量，共同在东非洲大陆上创造的奇迹。建设过程中，中方为肯方培训当地雇员4.4万人次，铁路技术人员3000余名，还规划建设铁路技术学院，使肯尼亚人民成为铁路的真正的建设者、推动者、受益者。
First, the railway fully respects the spirit of extensive consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits. Completion of this railway is no less than a miracle China and Kenya created in East Africa with joint hard efforts. During the construction process, China provided 44,000 training opportunities for the local employees, helped to train over 3,000 railway technicians, and laid out the plan for building a railway technical academy so that the Kenyan people are fully involved in building, promoting, and benefiting from railway development.
第二，声重诠释了合作共赢的互惠原则。蒙内铁路累计为肯尼亚创造了4万多个就业岗位，300多家当地的企业参与了工程的分包，雇佣当地员工占铁路员工总数的90%以上，真正体现了中肯双方合作发展、互利共赢。
Second, the railway reflects the principle of mutual benefit through win-win cooperation. This railway has created more than 40,000 local jobs, over 3,000 local companies involved in subcontracting, and over 90% of the employment is locally hired. A real example of win-win cooperation and common development between China and Kenya.
第三，深刻贯彻了生态环保的绿色发展理念。肯尼亚是世界闻名的野生动物王国，中方企业在建设中不断地优化线路的设计，充分地考虑野生动物活动的习性和迁徙的路径，全线共设置大型动物通道14处，以及100多处涵洞式动物通道，做到了长颈鹿通过铁路不弯腰、不低头，实现了人与自然的和谐发展。
Third, the railway embraces the vision of eco and environmental friendly development. As Kenya is world-renowned as the kingdom of wild animals, the Chinese construction company has taken into full consideration the habits and migration routes of wild animals in the railway alignment design. 14 passages for big animals and over 100 tunnels were built, which allow even giraffes to cross without bending the neck, realizing harmonious development between man and nature.
女士们、先生们、朋友们，蒙内铁路是合作的大道，它不仅是中肯合作的重要里程碑，也是双方加强合作的新起点。我们将认真落实习近平主席重要指示要求，与肯方携手并肩，以蒙内铁路建设为指引，共同打造合作的新格局，助力肯尼亚发展。
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway is a path of cooperation. It is not only a milestone in past China-Kenya cooperation, but also a new starting point of our closer cooperation in the future. We will honestly implement the important instructions of President Xi Jinping and work with Kenya to build on the good examples of this railway, strive for new progress in our cooperation, and push forward the development of Kenya.
我们要把蒙内铁路打造成为肯尼亚繁荣发展之路。蒙内铁路建成通车，将使内罗毕与蒙巴萨之间运输联系更为便捷，物流成本大幅降低，带动沿线产业发展和经济繁荣，助推肯尼亚建设成为地区物流中心和制造业中心，极大地提升了 本地区经济社会发展的水平，为肯尼亚加快自主可持续发展、实现2030年远景规划提供强大的助力。
We need to build the Mombasa-Nairobi SGR into a path of development and prosperity of Kenya. Launching of the railway will make transport between the two cities more convenient, significantly lower the logistics cost, and boost industrial development and economic prosperity along the route. It will facilitate Kenya's endeavor to become the region's logistics and manufacturing hub, significantly enhance regional economic and social development, and inject strong impetus into Kenya's efforts for self-reliant, sustainable development, and also for Vision 2030.
我们要把蒙内铁路打造成为地区互联互通的大动脉。蒙内铁路建成通车，将成为现代化铁路向肯尼亚周边内陆国家延伸的起点，促进地区国家加快东非铁路网的建设，并将同亚的斯亚贝巴、吉布提铁路、阿布贾、卡杜纳等铁路一起，为打造非洲现代铁路交通网、实现非洲互联互通迈出坚实的一步。
We need to build the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway into a regional artery of connectivity. Launching of this railway marks the beginning for modern railway to reach the inland countries and promote regional efforts in accelerating the building of the East African Railway Network. Together with Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway and the Abuja-Kaduna Railway, it will be a solid step toward a modern railway network in Africa and African connectivity.
我们要把蒙内铁路打造成为中非合作转型升级新样板。下一步，中方愿积极参与蒙内铁路运营，创新运营的服务模式，加强运营的安全监管，确保铁路安全顺畅。同时，继续加快铁路延伸线的建设，推进铁路建设陆港一体化的产业经济走廊，同肯方合力打造蒙内铁路、蒙巴萨港、蒙巴萨经济特区三位一体的中肯合作新格局，树立中非产业对接与产能合作的新典范。
We need to build the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway into a new model example for the transformation and upgrading of China-Africa cooperation. China stands ready to actively participate in the operation of the railway, to develop new operation models, enhance safety supervision, and deliver safe and smooth services. At the same time, China will continue to step up construction of the extension line, build the industrial economic corridor that links up the railway and port. We will work with Kenya to open up new prospects in China-Kenya cooperation by jointly developing the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway, Port of Mombasa, and the Mombasa Special Economic Zone, and set a new model for industrial complementarity and production capacity cooperation between China and Africa.
女士们、先生们、朋友们，600多年前，中国明代著名的航海家郑和率领的团队就曾到访过东非历史文化名城蒙巴萨，成为中非友好交往的史上的佳话。10几天前，习近平主席和肯亚塔总统在“一带一路”国际合作高峰论坛期间，一致同意将中肯关系定位提升为全面的 战略合作伙伴关系，为两国关系未来发展做出新的战略指引。
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, over 600 years ago, Zheng He, the famous Chinese navigator of Ming Dynasty, led his fleet to Mombasa, the renowned historical and cultural city in East Africa, which has been a much-told story in China-Africa friendship and exchanges. During the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation 2 weeks ago, President Xi Jinping and President Kenyatta agreed to elevate China-Kenya relations to comprehensive, strategic, cooperative partnership, charting the course for the bilateral relations.
中方愿同肯方一道，以蒙内铁路通车为契机，全面落实两国领导人达成的重要共识，积极拓展两国在“一带一路”倡议和中非合作论坛框架下的合作，让中肯务实合作成果更好地惠及两国人民，实现两国合作共赢、共同发展。
China is ready to work with Kenya to take the launching of the Mombasa-Nairobi SGR as a new opportunity to fully implement the important consensus reached between the two presidents and actively expand our bilateral cooperation under the Belt and Road Initiative and the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, so as to bring more benefits of our practical cooperation to our two peoples and achieve common development through win-win cooperation.
让我们以热烈的掌声，再次祝贺蒙内铁路胜利竣工通车。谢谢大家。
Let's use warm applause to once again congratulate the launching of the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excellencies, to complete such a project, you require leadership, you require focused leadership, you require leadership which can dirty their hands, and our President and Deputy President have been the forefront in this effort. Allow me now to welcome the Deputy President to make his remarks.
Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, Mama wa Taifa, Mama Margaret Kenyatta, our friend and special envoy from China, officials wote wa serikali ya Kenya na serikali ya China, ndugu wananchi, watu wa Mombasa, hamjambo. Assalamu alaikum. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. This morning is special, and this moment is historic as we give unto ourselves as the people of Kenya a new transformative standard gauge railway. The facility we are replacing was built not in the last century, but in the century before, more than 122 years ago. Today, on this Madaraka Day, Mr. President, you will make all of us proud as you launch this great facility that will be convenient, safer, faster, cost-effective, and most importantly, enjoyable. They say failure is an orphan. Success has many fathers. There are many who dreamed about this facility. There are others who thought about it. There are many who planned about it. But it is the Jubilee government under your administration that has made this a reality. And this reality that this morning we are witnessing is a milestone in the development of our country. Mr. President, we're very proud to be part and parcel of your team that has finally delivered on a railway that has been thought about for many years. Ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of pride, I want to request His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, to make his statement and officially launch this facility. Mr. President.
Pamoja, asante. Asanteni sana, tuketi. Asanteni sana. Your Excellency, Mr. Wang Yong, State Councilor of the People's Republic of China, and the Special Envoy of His Excellency President Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China. Msisikie nikisema State Councilor mufikirie ni yule councilor tunazoea hapa. Huyu ni Deputy Prime Minister bwana, msicheze. Invited guests, wananchi wenzangu, hamjambo. Leo ni siku ya kihistoria na ni siku kila Mkenya pahali popote alipo astahili ajivunie na afurahie taifa lake. Today, we celebrate laying one of the key cornerstones to Kenya's transformation to an industrialized, prosperous, middle-income country. Today, we join hands as 45 million people to embark on a new journey that seeks to create new opportunity, new jobs, and greater shared prosperity for our country and for our region. Today is a day that each and every one of us should shed their different cloth, be it of tribe, religion, political affiliation, and say that today, 45 million of us, together with our neighbors, celebrate a milestone in our country's history. I want to take this early opportunity through you, State Councilor, to express my own personal gratitude and the gratitude of the people of the great Republic of Kenya to His Excellency President Xi Jinping and the people of China for the collaborative support that has resulted and culminated in this day and in this celebration. We will have much to say as we start this journey. But mine, most importantly, is that as we celebrate the 54th Madaraka Day, 54 years since Kenya attained the right to determine her future destiny by Kenyans, we also celebrate today a new beginning for our republic. We also embark today on a new chapter in Kenya's history, a history that was first started 122 years ago, when the British, who had colonized this nation, kicked off the train to nowhere, a train that was characterized and was criticized by all those in the British Parliament as a train to nowhere, but a train that ultimately formed the basis of the new nation of Kenya. It was then dubbed the Lunatic Express because it was going nowhere. Today, 122 years later, despite again a lot of criticism, we now celebrate not the Lunatic Express, but the Madaraka Express. That will begin to reshape the story of Kenya for the next 100 years. I am proud to be associated with this day. Tutasema mengi tukitembea, kwa sababu leo ni siku ya kwanza. Na ningependa kusema machache kwa Wakenya wenzangu. Jameni, ni safari tumeanza. Na hakuna safari ambayo haitakuwa na matatizo kidogo kidogo. Na mimi nataka niwaambie, hata sisi leo ni siku yetu ya kwanza kuja kusafiri na gari la moshi ambalo tutaipanda leo tukielekea Nairobi. Na wauliza wa Kenya, kwa sababu sana sana kupitia runinga na magazeti yetu tuwajua sana kulalamika, oh sasa iko hivi, oh. Jameni, leo ni siku ya kwanza, bado kutakuwa na matatizo. Tunaelewana? Mpaka wale ambao wanaanza kazi washike momentum. Na ndio tuwasema hii ni soft opening. Tuungane mikono na tusiwe walalamishi. Tunaelewana? Tuwasukuma wakati huu, tuhakikishe ya kwamba tuanze kwanza gari moja kila siku inatoka Mombasa na gari moja inatoka Nairobi. Waende watatue shida, tuendelee mpaka baada ya miezi kadhaa tuwe sasa na schedule ile ambaye itakuweko. Be patient, my brothers and sisters. Be supportive and help with constructive criticism so that we can improve and ultimately have what we want, which is a world-class working railway. Tunaelewana? Ya pili, kwa sababu lazima tuambiane ukweli wa Kenya wenzangu. Ya pili, kuna wale wachache kati yetu ambao hawapendi mema, wanajiona wenyewe, ati kuna mtu anafikiria ati Uhuru labda au serikali ionekane vibaya, unaenda unang'oa reli, unaenda unang'oa stima za kushikilia, ati ndio ionekane ya kwamba serikali imeshindwa na kazi. Nataka nikuambie hii reli sio ya Uhuru, hii reli sio ya Ruto, hii reli sio ya serikali. Hii reli imejengwa na pesa ya Wakenya milioni 45. Hii reli ni ya Wakenya. Na nataka niseme hivi, ndio wakati wale ambao watashikwa wakitenda maovu wajue mapema. Kuna sheria ambaye iko ya kwamba wewe ukiwa muharibifu au mwizi kwa mali ya wananchi au ile tunaita critical infrastructure, hukumu hiyo inaitwa economic sabotage. Economic sabotage ni ile inaitwa capital offense. Yaani ukihukumiwa wewe unaenda kinyonga. Tunaelewana? Wenzangu, mimi ni wa kwanza kukubaliana ya kwamba kama rais, katiba imenipatia nguvu ya kuweka kidole, lakini mimi nimesema na nikaamua ya kwamba siwezi niweke kidole. Hata wale ambao walihukumiwa kunyongwa, nikaweka kidole nikasema wawache kunyongwa, mtu aende jela maisha, kwa sababu mimi sipendi kusema nimeweka kidole ati mtu anyongwe. Hapana, nikasema watu hata wale ambao wamehukumiwa kunyongwa, nikasema hapana, wasinyongwe, lakini waende jela maisha. Mimi nataka nitangaze leo ya kwamba wale ambao watahukumiwa kwa sababu ya kuharibu mali ya Wakenya, kuharibu haki ya watoto na watoto wa watoto wetu, nasema Mungu nisamehe, lakini hawa ambao watahukumiwa nitaweka kidole wanyongwe. Tumeelewana wenzangu? Mumekubaliana na mimi? Hatuwezi turuhusu watu wachache watuharibie haki na watuharibie mali ya watoto na watoto wetu. Si ni hivyo? La mwisho, vile nimesema, tutaendelea kuona matatizo. Hata mimi leo nikitembea kufika hapa, tumeona bado kuna mambo kadhaa ambaye bado yatakikana kufanyika. Hii barabara ya kufika hii stesheni, waziri, lazima itengenezwe ndio wananchi waweze kufika kwa njia sawa. Ya pili, tumesema hii ni gari la moshi la Wakenya, wananchi, sio matajiri, ni wananchi. Tuataka uhakikishe pia hapa, kwa sababu nimeona hakuna, mjenge stesheni hapa pahali matatu inaweza kuja ifike, ndio mwananchi wa kawaida asiwe anakuja kupanda reli akitembea. Muweke hapa, tunataka stesheni ya matatu ijengwe hapa, ndio wananchi wetu waweze wafike. La mwisho, La mwisho, wenzangu, hii reli tumesema ni ya wananchi na tumejadiliana sana ni kwa njia gani tutahakikisha ya kwamba wananchi wataweza waitumie mali yao. Na tunasema ya kwamba container ambaye average container ya mizigo ambaye average zamani ilikuwa kati ya shilingi karibu 1,100 kusafirisha container kutoka kutoka Mombasa kwenda Nairobi, isiwe zaidi sasa zile container ambazo zitabebwa na hii reli isipitishe 50,000, iwe nusu. Na ndio wananchi wajue faida ya reli yao. Tumefanya hesabu pia ya kwamba kutoka Mombasa kwenda Nairobi, watu wakitumia basi ni karibu shilingi 1,200 hivi. Si ni kweli? Tumesema ya kwamba mwananchi wa kawaida awe anaweza apande hii reli kutoka Mombasa kwenda Nairobi na asilipishwe zaidi ya shilingi 700. 700 shillings. Kutoka Mombasa kwenda Nairobi iwe ni shilingi isipokuwa zaidi ya shilingi 700. Tumekubaliana? Wale mabudaa ambao wanataka kulipa zaidi kwa sababu wanataka kwenda amekaa, sijui vile amekaa, hiyo ni yenu, mtafikiria. Lakini mwananchi asilipishwe zaidi ya shilingi 700 kutoka Mombasa kwenda Nairobi. Nikimalizia, I want to once again thank our partners and our friends from the People's Republic of China for this support, for the elevation of our relationship to a comprehensive, strategic partnership. We will intensify our relationship with a clear vision of a win-win situation that benefits both China and Kenya, and to assure you that we will continue to be your partners as we seek to enhance the shared prosperity of our two peoples. May God bless each and every one of you. Mungu abariki taifa letu la Kenya. Mungu atupe umoja. Mungu atupe amani. Mungu abariki wananchi watukufu wa taifa letu tukufu la Kenya. Kwa hayo machache na mengi, nasema tuanze safari. Asanteni sana.
Tumshangilie Mheshimiwa Rais. Tumshangilie tena kwa makofi na vigelegele na shangwe na nderemo. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Rais. Hivi sasa Mheshimiwa Rais, utakuwa na fursa ili tuweze kuelekea pale langoni mwa stesheni ili tunaenda kupiga picha kwa pamoja na wathamini wetu, kisha baadaye Mheshimiwa atakata utepe ambayo itakuwa ni uzinduzi rasmi kuanzisha stesheni hii, stesheni ya Mombasa. wananchi tusongee pale karibu, kwa maana Mheshimiwa Rais atakuwa na fursa ya kuwapungia mkono wakati atakapokuwa anaingia.
The president now going to get aboard of the train right now, and he's just given his speech and he's spoken very, very movingly there. That's we as a country should not politicize this particular project, he said, and he began by also saying that this has created opportunities, that also as a country it seeks to create new opportunities, jobs and shared prosperity in East Africa. He went full steam ahead to say that today 45 million Kenyans together with our neighbors celebrate a milestone in our country's history. As we see him, we can see him now embarking on that particular locomotive. He will be taking that locomotive down to Nairobi. And also he has expressed his own personal gratitude to the Republic of China for the collaborative support that they have supported this country, and